Well, I'm never looking at Yahtzee the same way ever again. Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Cam. Welcome back to the Shyamalan Project. As we come to the close on the Shyamalan Project, check out the other reviews in the project linked above. I have covered everything from Shyamalan's first film, Praying with Anger, up through Shyamalan's Triangle of Terror, with the latest one being After Earth. Check those reviews out if you are so inclined. But for right now, let's dive into the film that brought Shyamalan's career back from the dead, 2015's The Visit. This movie stars Olivia de Jong, Ed Oxenbould, and Catherine Hahn, and it tells the story of two children, played by Oxenbould and de Jong. They are going to rural Pennsylvania to meet their grandparents for the very first time. Long story short, their mom and her parents, the kids' grandparents, had a bad falling out. But as a bit of a make-good, and a reason for the mom to go on a vacation of her own, the kids want to meet their grandparents. And importantly to the film, the daughter wants to make a home movie about it because she wants to be a filmmaker when she grows up. And the grandparents turn out to be crazy, and not the good kind. As I stated earlier, this movie brought back M. Night Shyamalan's career from the dead. He was pretty much a meme after the release of After Earth, to the point where he just became a laughingstock. When you brought up M. Night Shyamalan in any context, this would be the response.
Stop it. Get some help.
But with the release of The Visit, he took a serious gamble. To fund the movie himself, he bet $5 million. He took out a $5 million mortgage on his home in order to fund the movie. That's why I can't hate Shyamalan, because he's willing to do something like that after just a completely terrible trilogy of films. He is still more than willing to do that. But he not only got help from mortgaging his house, but he also got distribution from a little studio called Blumhouse, who were still relatively new around this time and not the juggernaut of horror that they are now today. While this movie was a financial success, critics were kind of split. I believe, if memory serves, this movie sits at a high 50s, low 60s on Rotten Tomatoes. I'll put the correct score on the screen somewhere. But having rewatched The Visit for the first time in years, yeah, this is one of Shyamalan's most underrated films. I think, while it is not perfect, it is certainly a welcome return to the movies that I think Shyamalan excels at making. Firstly, let's just get the found footage stuff out of the way, because when people think of found footage, people tend to have, well, this reaction to it.
No, we're not watching that shite!
I'm a bit of a found footage defender in certain circumstances. There are at least a couple of found footage movies that I genuinely really like. Cloverfield, End of Watch, and Chronicle all jump to mind, and I would include The Visit in that conversation. At the very least, this is one of the better found footage movies in the context of why this is a found footage movie in the first place. This is a found footage movie because, well, the daughter wants to be a filmmaker and she is making a home movie. That's pretty much as tangible a reason for this to be a found footage movie as you'll ever get. Olivia de Jong has gone on to be in some pretty big movies, including Elvis last year. She was Priscilla Presley. But here, I thought she did a really good job. She's the sibling who, when the crazy stuff happens, she's like, they're old. This is what old people do. She's not a believer yet. But as the movie goes on, she catches on real quick. I really enjoyed Ed Oxenbould's performance as the younger brother. They have the kid rap, which, yeah, it's pretty cringe, but I think that's the idea. And so on the whole, yeah, like I said, it's cringe, but I couldn't help but be like, oh man, that's certainly something, all right. The actors that got to play Nana and Pop Pop were actually quite suitably creepy, especially near the end, but I'll talk about that in a second. But as the week goes on, you tend to see the mask slip more and more and more, to the point of it just falling off entirely, and you just see them for what they really were, which is nuttier than a fruitcake. This is borderline a horror movie. I wouldn't call it a full-fledged horror movie. There's definitely horror elements here. It's more of a thriller. But there are definitely some very creepy moments and jump scares that in a normal movie I'd be like, oh, come on. But actually here are done pretty well. So credit where credit's due. The movie was very tense for the full 90-minute runtime. Really where the movie kind of falters for me is when it goes down the silly route. I'm not going to spoil what happens at the ending, but this is probably one of the more backcrap crazy endings to a Shyamalan movie that there has ever been. Full stop. I remember going to the theater and watching this, and literally what was running through my head was this.
I have a few questions, starting with what the fuck?
Credit where credit is due, Shyamalan does several plants and payoffs to where it all comes to a head, so while it is very silly, it all makes sense, but the silliness of this ending really almost kills it. It gets to a point to where the ending almost eats itself, and the movie just almost falls off a cliff. It doesn't, but it definitely falls off. And to the point where this movie, for some people, is just hated. I really like it, but I can definitely understand their position. And while Catherine Hahn is known for other things, her something in regards to an Agatha, she legit has one of the most bone-chilling moments in any Shyamalan movie. And I won't spoil it, but let's just say it involves a Skype call and 4 words. And I won't say any more. This movie gets a great rating from me. It does get very silly by the end to the point where you're just like, what am I watching? But for the rest of the movie, it is actually very well done. This was exactly the movie that Shyamalan needed to make at exactly the right time. And he used that momentum to carry on into his next movie and the conclusion of the Shyamalan project, Split, released in 2017. But more on that tomorrow, or today, that being Thursday, February 2nd, as joining me will be Jacob Collins from 3D Movie Cinema. We'll be talking about Split live, so stay tuned for that. But if you like this video, please be sure to leave a like, comment your thoughts down below, and if you like this video and you want to see more like it, hit the subscribe button and click the bell to allow notifications, so when a new video drops, you'll be the first to know about it. My name is Ryan Cam, and I'll see you in the next one.